It's not a mystery to me. The same thing that happened to my daughter is what happened to Whitney. There's only one person that was around both occasions.
You won't say his name. Nick Gordon is who you're referring to.
I won't say his name.
Even though Bobbi Kristina Brown, the daughter of Whitney Houston and Bobbi Brown, has been dead for some time, her father says the reasons why she died still don't make sense. Bobbi has also discussed the possibility that Chrissy's ex-boyfriend Nick Gordon was responsible for Whitney's and Chrissy's deaths on several occasions thus far.
I want the world to know that Bobbi Kristina did not die from the bathtub incident. That's not what killed Bobbi Kristina.
What killed Bobbi Kristina?
Bobbi Kristina was starved to death.
Do you approach that?
He knows what happened. I don't know what happened that night, but he does.
You walk through that door and you see her much like you saw Whitney.
It was literally, it was a nightmare all over.
According to whispers, though, there is a lot more to the story. Chrissy was aware of her mother's fate, and the uncanny parallels between their deaths were orchestrated, honey. Additionally, I've heard a lot about how she witnessed a number of her mother's conflicts with people like.
And then it's Grammy time, and her and Clive had a fight 2 days before. And from what I was told, Bobbi Kristina was present for some of that fight. And then the next thing you know, she's dead.
What specifically did Chrissy know about her mother's passing then? Did that have anything to do with her passing? Come on, let's start. To provide some context, Kristina was raised in front of cameras and occasionally posed alongside Whitney, including when she was 8 months old and during a Barbara Walters interview. When her mother took home a trophy at the 1994 American Music Awards, she too made an appearance on stage. Chrissy was one of those who grieved the most after her mother died, and she was even given a breakdown after her mother's death was found in her hotel room in Beverly Hills, but she forced herself to remain composed during her memorial services and funeral. In actuality, Chrissy rose to fame in the days following Whitney's death, despite her family's efforts to protect her. Eventually, she appeared in public at the Billboard Music Awards, joined and later quit a Tyler Perry series, and even conducted an interview with Oprah. Unfortunately, she didn't survive long enough to carry on with. After Chrissy was found unconscious in a bathtub in the Georgia house she lived in with Nick Gordon on January 31, 2015, our mother's legacy officially began. The Fulton County Medical Examiner ruled that she drowned and was intoxicated, and the toxicology result indicated that she had morphine, alcohol, a Coca-Cola-related chemical, sedatives, and anti-anxiety drugs in her system. Whether she drowned or was drunk was not clear to the medical examiner's office. Was the death unintentional or intentional? The underlying cause of death, as they put it simply at the time, is the condition that starts the downward spiral of events that lead to death. In this case, that condition is the immersion associated with intoxication, the pneumonia, the encyclopedia that resulted from the immersion, and, of course, the placement of drugs. Bobbi Kristina was killed. On February 11, 2012, her mother, who was 48 years old, died. She was found unconscious and submerged in the bathtub in them. Official sources state that Whitney drowned accidentally in a bathtub at the Beverly Hilton Hotel in Beverly Hills. Whitney's body had residues of Coca-Cola, Xanax, and other narcotics, according to toxicology data. According to official reports, Whitney may have drowned after losing consciousness due to a heart attack brought on by arterial hardening. We also know, though, that the coroner found no signs of poisoning, cardiac episode, or incident. Hence, the claim that Whitney had a heart attack was probably a cover-up. The autopsy report, at least, did not establish that Whitney fell into the tub due to a heart attack because the coroner only stated that she had minor heart disease, including some arterial blockage, as many smokers do. Regarding her Coca-Cola consumption, the coroner said that it seemed she drank some but not a lot. Thus, it couldn't have been the reason for her demise. Consequently, the query that people have always been: buried in that tub of scaling water till she could no longer pull herself out. Furthermore, Whitney's lungs contained too little water to prove that she drowned, indicating that she was placed in the bathtub by someone and did not faint. The names of Ray J and Nick Gordon, Chissy's ex-boyfriend, have always been brought up in connection with Whitney's suspicious murder,
Ray J was the last person to see her alive. He let the dealer in, but she was sober, right? But he let the dealer in that gave her the shot. Leola Brown, Bobbi Brown's sister, has said on several occasions that she was beat. They saw her body. She didn't just die in a tub, like she was beat up.
Though they were extremely unstable and never acknowledged their relationship. Ray J was the last person to openly date Whitney, which is the problem. Ray J stated he was not at the party on the day of Whitney's passing, although several reports indicate he may have made up his absence. In reality, according to one of the testimonies of those who were present, Brandy had requested her brother at the party. Therefore, why would she be requesting him if he wasn't present? For starters, Ray J started to get the side look from folks while he and Raffles were hurrying out of the rear that same evening with Brandy Burnside. But why was Raffles assisting Ray in leaving the place to create interest when it was clear that he didn't like him? Soon after Whitney's death, Lola Brown, Whitney's sister to Bobbi Brown, said that Ray J was probably the one who gave her a faulty bag and that he had been helping Whitney get whatever it was she was using.
I saw Ray J coming out of the hotel, hiding his head, being pushed into the car. Why? I looked and I said, why is he hiding? Why is he hiding his face? He's always trying to show his face when he's around Whitney. Why now? Why are you trying to hide now, Ray J? And I put it all together. When I first heard she passed away, I said, my God, somebody gave her a bad bag. Yes, I promise you, that was the first thing that came out of my mouth. And then I saw Ray J, and it all added up.
Furthermore, it doesn't help that Whitney gave a note to Ray J's sister Brandy before she died, during which she interrupted an interview with Brandy, Monica, and Clive. Even now, Brandy refuses to discuss the contents of the note. In fact, she said in a different interview, "I'm going to just not say what it was and keep it to myself for my own personal reason." However, many people believe Whitney might have given Brandy the message on purpose while the cameras were rolling, as in, the fact that Whitney Houston stopped a taped interview to greet Brandy while she was still completely dressed and drenched, then handed her a message and gave her that final kiss is absolutely incomprehensible. She will mention, "I nearly drowned today, if you pay close attention." Additionally, when things are going well, people notice that Brandy talks about them, just in case she got hurt. Sadly, she refuses, which can only mean that the note was poorly written and that when Whitney handed it to her, her expression was indisputable. According to Jaguar, who said that she was there while Whitney was struggling and dying, there has long been a belief that Kristina found out the truth about her mother's passing and that she even had documentation.
And then it's Grammy time, and her and Clive had a fight 2 days before. And from what I was told, Bobbi Kristina was present for some of that fight. And then the next thing you know, she's dead.
Additionally, Kristina's dying circumstances and the similarities to her mother's death have never made sense, especially in light of her relationship with Nick Gordon. There are now ideas that speculate Clive might have contributed to Whitney's demise. Kristina must have heard stuff she probably shouldn't have heard if she was around for some of the arguments. Whitney just happened to pass away during a party hosted by Clive.
This is a young man who swears to God that he loves my niece, but yet you drag her up the steps, you pull her by her hair. You pull her by her hair and you punch her in the face and you knock 2 of her teeth out of her mouth.
Chrissy was reportedly excited to continue her mother's heritage and was looking forward to getting to know her father better. However, Nick knew that everything would have been taken care of for him as soon as Chrissy left, so he didn't want her near anyone. Chrissy was apparently organizing a family vacation to Los Angeles to celebrate her father's birthday. In order to focus on her job and be nearer to Bobbi, it was also anticipated that this journey would become a permanent relocation. On the day that she was found in that tub, she was even purportedly going to meet with a buddy to let him know that Nick wasn't who she thought he was. But according to people close to her, she was drunk and unhappy when Nick returned home from their outing on the day she wanted to tell him about her plans. Shortly after Kristina was moved into hospice care, she supposedly had BR, remember, because Nick and she had a fight, and Nick struck her before leaving her alone in the room. The conservator designated by the court also filed a case against Nick Gordon to pursue justice on her behalf. He was charged with stealing money and causing serious injuries by pretending to be Bobbi Kristina's husband in the complaint. But later, in an updated case, the conservatory accused him of being accountable for Bobbi Kristina's premature death. The complaint claims that during a furious confrontation, Nick Gordon gave Bobbi Kristina a poisonous cocktail that Bobbi Brown claims he put her face down in the tub after rendering her unconscious. According to his ideas, Nick Gordon may have been implicated in both Whitney's and Chrissy's deaths, given he was present when they occurred. Nick, however, disputed the charges and even asserted that Chrissy's death was caused by Bobbi Brown, Chrissy's father. Nick died a few years later, so no one knows for sure what killed Whitney and Chrissy, or even whether. I don't know whether Nick was responsible for either of the killings, or if someone in a position of authority put Nick up for it. But I can state that nobody ever understood why Whitney or Chrissy died. The similarities seem a bit unnerving, don't you think? Do you also believe Nick was complicit, or that he was set up by someone in a position of authority? Please leave a remark below with your opinions.